You've got all this extra time on your hands all of a sudden, and maybe something that you're thinking about doing with that time is starting a YouTube channel. I, by no means, am an expert when it comes to YouTube, but I have been making my own videos and editing them now for about a year. So I feel like I do have a little bit of experience under my belt, and I definitely can show you just kind of like a bare bones, not so crazy. You don't need lots of amazing equipment way to make YouTube videos of your own. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned.
Won't nobody love you the way they should. Won't nobody check up on you, make sure you're good. Won't nobody check those body tremors for your neck.
Hey everyone, my name is Becky Park, and typically you know me as someone who sells part-time on Poshmark and eBay, but today we're actually going to be talking about making YouTube videos. And I thought the best way to do it is to just take you with me along for the ride as I prepare for a YouTube video and actually film the YouTube video and then edit that said YouTube video. So I'm going to show you kind of what those different steps look like, and then we will meet together at the end to just kind of collect our thoughts, if you will. This is the room that I typically will record my videos in. This is our guest room. There's my ginger ale right there. There is me, there's me, hi. I'm wearing like a really cute top and then like sweatpants underneath because you usually can't see what I'm wearing on the bottom. But yeah, so this is where I typically record. You can kind of see remnants of like a haul over there. There's my FabFitFun box. The carpet in here is disgusting. There's like this reddish stain right there. There's a nice window in here that, you know, when it's daytime, I get some really good natural light. But otherwise, I have this little itty bitty ring light. My husband found it for me on Amazon. I'll link it down below as an Amazon affiliate link. But what I like about it is it needs to be plugged into a laptop to turn on. That's not what I like about it. But what I like about it is that the phone just goes right in there. And maybe that's like typical of all ring lights. I don't know. But it's also got this like tripod, and you can make it taller or you can keep it short like this. So what I will do is I will just put my phone in here, and I typically will just use my phone. I've never actually owned like a nicer camera or like a vlog camera or a GoPro or anything like that. Every single video that I have recorded, with the exception of my first couple videos, have been on my phone. The first few my friend actually did for me. And then I'll show you my happy planner. This is my happy planner. I love it. And I have one for like school and stuff, but this is just the one that I have been using for my reselling business. And you can see like here in the days, well, let me find where it is. This is like where I write what sold and where it sold and how much I made on everything. But sometimes, especially if, you know, right now I'm going on this kick right now of doing a video per day, I will write out like all of my ideas here. And then I have like when I'm going to do each video here. And then for this video too, just because I do have like prizes associated with each video, I have the prizes on the back. But this is just how I kind of like stay organized. And then I also have these sheets from the Happy Planner brand, and it's like a project goal sheet. I really like it. And sometimes, especially for like a video that I'm getting ready to record here in a second, what resellers can do while quarantined. Sometimes I have to like really organize my thoughts. And so I'll just kind of brain dump everything here. And then I have like an outline to go off of. I don't like really have like a script or anything. I don't write everything out word for word. I don't think, you know, any reseller really does, but I like to at least have my thoughts somewhat organized. So I'm not just like babbling like an idiot, although I know I do talk a lot in my videos. But yeah, this helps me kind of stay organized. And I just have lots of these like little sheets with just like ideas and brain dumps. So that's kind of the system that I use to stay organized. Literally, that was like the hardest video I have ever recorded in so long. Just because like, first of all, there's like something wrong with my eye, like with my contact. And I don't know, like my brain was all over the place. So when I edit this, when you watch me edit this, you're going to see so many edits, like so many cuts. And obviously I'm not going to bore you with how much I had to edit and with every single edit, but it was crazy. Like it was so bad. And I didn't give her a shout out in the video itself, but this cardigan came again from Melinda at Joyfully Curated on Instagram, and it's amazing. Like, everything she has sent me is amazing. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and put this video into my husband's laptop now. My laptop does not have enough space for my videos because they're so long and because the quality of video is kind of high. I record in HD 60. I don't really know what any of that means. I just know that that's what I do. And my video just doesn't have the space. So when I try to put it in my laptop just says, nope, this is not a recognized file. It doesn't even try. So I'm going to try to see if this will go into my husband's laptop. I'm kind of scared that it won't because it's a longer video. I mean, I'm probably going to edit out like 10 minutes of it, but we'll see what happens. So the first thing I do is I use this cable. It's like the same one that comes in like the block charger thing for iPhones and stuff, and I just transfer my files into my husband's laptop. And as you can see, this movie started off at 41 minutes and 45 seconds, and we're definitely going to trim it down quite a bit, but I just import it into my photos, and then what I'm able to do is get it into iMovie, which is the free app or the free program that I use. It comes on all Mac products. Well, not all, like it doesn't just come on your iPhones or on your iPads and stuff, but you can get it for either free or super relatively cheap. So that's what I'm going to show you next. All right, so this is my first time using this program to like show my face and what's happening on my screen. I'm using the program OBS Studio, and it was free online. I just watched a YouTube video on how to do this. So bear with me as I try to figure out what I'm doing. But the first thing I'm going to do, and I will try to go back here, I'm going to go to projects, and we'll go ahead and just label this. Let's see, what is this YouTube? Oh, this is on like reseller productivity during quarantine. That's the video. Did I spell that right? Quarantine. I think so. That's the video that I'm going to be editing right now. And so typically, if you don't have a video open yet or created yet, you have the choice between media and projects. And in the projects part of iMovie, you would click create new, but we're not going to create new since we already have something. So I'm going to go ahead and click into reseller productivity during quarantine. And these are all of the videos and pictures that are already in my, whatchamacallit, they're in my computer, and you can see, I don't know why, but I have two of the same video. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag this video into the part of iMovie where you can start doing some edits. This cursor right here, it allows you to zoom in and out of this video clip. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom way out. And the reason for that is because if you look here in the blue, you can see the sound waves. And I actually really depend on the sound waves to make my edits. That's where I know when there's a natural pause between phrases, or I know I say the word a lot, so sometimes I'll edit out some of the ums, and I can visibly see where the ums are and know where to make my cuts. And then I can also see where there are just like big moments of nothing happening, and I'm able to easily make my cuts there. And I'm going to show you really quickly how I do all of that. But as you can see right at the beginning, there's nothing going on, so I'm going to go ahead and make a cut, and all I do is I make sure that this line is exactly where I want to make the cut. I will, with my Mac, I'm using like two fingers. I think that's like right click. So I right click on that moment, and that allows me to select split clip, which I guess I can also press Command B for, but I just kind of rely on the mouse. So now that's created two different pieces of the movie. As you can see, there's like this piece and there's this piece. So I'm just going to select this and I'm going to delete it. And now it moves everything back and just pretends like that little 2-second clip didn't even exist. I'm also going to go ahead right now and just look at my volume. So right now, if you look at the volume, everything is great in the sense that there's no clipping. Clipping is like if I were to move my volume up, you can see all of these yellow moments all of a sudden and even some red. And that means the sound is going to be distorted, especially if people are listening to this maybe through earphones or things like that. And I don't want it to be an uncomfortable audio experience for anyone. So I like to raise the volume as much as I can while staying away from like any red peaks. And if there's like a little bit of yellow, that's okay. So right now I have it at 158. And if I just kind of scroll throughout the video, like there's a moment right there that's yellow, but overall that looks like it's going to be a really good comfortable volume. So now I'm going to go back, I'm going to play through some of this and I'll show you how I add in other videos like B-roll or like my bumper for my YouTube video, and I'll just show you a couple things and hopefully that's enough to get you started. So let's go ahead and start the video. By the way, this video was so rough, like I'm gonna have to edit out so much of it, so you'll kind of get a sneak peek into how rough things can really be. Today's video, we're going to be talking about what are the different things that you can be doing while you were stuck at home. So I'm just like adjusting myself. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the different things that you can do for your reselling business, despite the fact that you can't be out there thrifting, sourcing, and doing all the really fun stuff that resellers love to do. But there are a ton of things that you can do while you're quarantined at home. So if you want to kind of see my reseller bucket list or checklist or just ideas of things to do, stay tuned. All right, so we're gonna do a couple things. Right here, I'm gonna make a cut because right here is where my bumper is gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this little dead space as well. It's only cutting out 0.4 seconds, but I really hate when there's any sort of lag time where I'm not doing anything because I just think it's really boring. I'm actually gonna like scooch that back a little bit too. And if you notice at the very beginning here, I basically redid the intro. So all of this right here is not necessary. And I knew to make the cut right there because right there is where the sound wave starts and that's where I start talking. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this. And already you can see that we skimmed like 7-8 seconds off of this massively long video just by doing that. So now I'm gonna show you how I put in my bumper, and I'll show you a couple other things too with my bumper, just because I know that these are the kinds of questions that a lot of you have had. So I keep my bumper just like in my downloads. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to my downloads here. And I have a few things up here. So the first is the song that I use, and this is a song by one of my former students. Her name is Ti Steele, and I think she goes by Ti Steele on platforms like Spotify and iTunes, so you can buy her album or even just the song if you love it that much. I have used this song so much that I already know for myself that it's going to, this is where like the song part where she starts singing starts. So I know to place that right there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the track so that it splits right there. And then I also have saved in here the bumper. And so here it is, it's just in my downloads, and I'm going to go ahead and drag that, and as you can see, I just basically shoved it in between the two clips that I want it to appear in between. So that's my bumper right there, and you can see that there is sound with it. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because it probably doesn't match up with what I have going on today. So I'm going to click on the bumper, I'm going to again right click, and I'm going to select the option to detach the audio, and now you can see in the blue here the audio is no longer there and it's down here, and all I have to do is select that and delete it. And then I'm going to take this guy, which was like the second part of the song, and I'm going to drag it over so that it is lined up with my bumper. As you can see, there is a ton of yellow and red, so I'm going to go ahead. I always lower the volume of this part to 56, and then here I usually lower this to about like 8 to 10%. So for this one we'll try 10, see what the levels are like, and if you can still hear my voice in this video over the music. So let's make sure that the levels are okay. List or checklist or just ideas of things to do, stay tuned. And then the music is louder here. All right. So a couple things that I want to address about what just happened here. First of all, this bumper, I did not make it. I have a friend who was the one who like really encouraged me to get into YouTube, and he is the one that made this bumper for me. I thought he did a fabulous job, so I have used it ever since. I don't know how he did all of this. That's like literally what he does for a living. He's a videographer. The other thing that I wanted to note about this is that if you're going to use music, you have to make sure that it's copyright free. This song of my students is actually copyrighted, but the version that she gave me is not. Like this one actually, the song actually has some cuss words and stuff in it, and this one is like the clean version of the song, but I don't think that she has a copyright version of the clean version of the song, which is why I'm able to use it and not get demonetized. But you want to make sure that if you are using music, that you are not using something that has a copyright on on it. Otherwise, you can be penalized for that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I usually go like a few seconds into the next clip. And what I'll do is, again, I will cut the clip. I'm going to get rid of that because I don't need it. And then you'll see right here, like there's a few different like types of arrows that show up at the ends of clips. This one where it's like a bolder arrow means that it's going to move the end point of the clip back, you know, like earlier or later, depending on what you're doing with it. And then if you move it up though to this little circle thing up here, what that's going to do is, first of all, the arrows are going to look different. Now they're just two triangles versus like the two arrows. So you're going to take the two triangles and you're going to actually move the circle over, and what that's going to do is it's showing you right here that the sound is gradually going to taper down, basically at the rate of what this curve is doing right here. So I'll show you what, you know, that just did.
Hey everyone, my name is Becky.
So that way, like, the music doesn't just all of a sudden cut out, and it's kind of jarring sometimes, but instead it naturally tapers down. That's just a little effect I like to do as I get into the video. So now we'll watch through the video a little bit. I promise there are going to be so many cuts that we have to make, and we'll do those. And actually, before we do that, I promise I would show you one more thing. So one thing that I like to do in my What Sold videos is right here, I will actually put up a clip of the item that sold. And the way that I do that is I actually take a screenshot video on my phone of the item, just like in the Poshmark app, or if it's an eBay sale, using the eBay app, and I will just take a video of myself kind of slowly scrolling through the item that sold. So let's pretend, just for the sake of this video, that this bumper is that clip, okay? So what I'm going to do is, here's my bumper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it in, and I have the option of, rather than like sticking it in between two clips, I can actually stick it on top of a clip. So let's say, like, I'm so meticulous about this, and again, I'm going to detach the audio, I'm going to delete the audio, but let's say like right here, I'm saying the word bumper, and I want this bumper video to start when I say the word bumper. That's why I line it up with that exact moment in the sound wave, because I want it to happen at the time that the word comes out of my mouth. I am a little ridiculous about that kind of stuff, but that's what I do. So if I want this video to show up in the midst of this video, I have to do a couple things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this video, and you know that this is the one that's selected because there's like this yellow highlight around it. And then I'm going to select this icon right here, and right here it's going to give me some different options as to what I can do with this video. So right now it's saying that it's going to just cut away from this video to this one. So right now this is the effect.
And I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark.
So it's like you get the audio of the original video, but you're seeing this video. That's not what I want. The other option, or another option I guess I could say, is this green blue screen. So let's see what that does.
And I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark.
So it kind of like shows me in the background, oddly, like it's pretty horrible. That's a really awful option, so I don't want to do that. Another thing that I see a lot of people do is a split screen. I use this sometimes, but I don't really like it that much, because you'll see, like, when I go from this video to this video, what it does is it kind of like shoves the original video over, and I don't really like that effect. I'll show you what I mean.
It's Becky Park, and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark.
So you can see, like, I went from being full screen, and then they just like moved me over to the right. Not my ideal thing. The option that I use the most is picture in picture. So what's going to happen is you see that it's going to literally take this video and plop it inside of the original video. And what I do is I move it over, and I will just kind of like spread it out so that it's taking up as much space as it can without covering my face. And now it gets this effect.
And I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark, Mercari.
So now you can see the video inside of my original video. Obviously for my What Sold like listing clips, what I'll do is I will pull the item down, and just in nature they're more like rectangle shaped, so when I change the size of them they end up filling up just like this part of the screen, so it works out perfectly. This, I mean, if I were to mess around with the sizing, it would just, you know, not really fill up more space than that without covering my face. So that is how I kind of layer a video on top of another video. I know that that's a question that a lot of people have asked, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I don't really want that video there, and we're just going to go through and see what things we need to edit.
Hey everyone, my name is Becky Park, and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay.
and I'm a part-time reseller on. So I don't know what it was about that I did not enjoy, but I guess I didn't like that very much. So here, I started off by saying I'm a part-time reseller, so I'm going to try to find here in the sound wave where I said the same thing. Part-time reseller, and I'm a part-time. So I think it's around here. I'm a part. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the cut right there. I'm going to split right here. And so by getting rid of this, it should go pretty seamlessly from this clip into this clip. Let's see if I did a good job. Becky Park, and I'm a. So I need to get rid of a little bit here. Becky Park, and I'm a. Ugh, I need to get rid of a little bit more. Maybe it's that whole little wave, actually. It's Becky Park, and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark and eBay. I am currently at home, and I have been ordered by the governor of Illinois to stay home and to not leave unless I am going out to do essential work, which I am not. I am a high school choir. So I'll just show you one more cut. So right here, I don't know what it was. I like stammered or something. I'm telling you, this was such a rough video. But I'm going to go ahead and take out this clip. And I apologize because my computer is starting to make like a heavy breathing noise. Like it's being overworked, so it's making this loud noise. But anyway, I cut that out. So now let's see if that went in pretty seamlessly. Which I am not. I'm a high school choir director. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to show you, because obviously I'm not going to make you sit through 41 more minutes of this. And realistically, this is not 41 minutes. Like you're seeing how much time it takes to take out all of the mistakes and stuff. This will probably take me 2 hours to edit completely. If I had a lot of if I had a lot of videos that I was going to be putting into this video, kind of like what I did with, my bumper in showing you how I put a video inside of a video. If I had a lot of stuff like that, this would take even longer, but this is literally just, me sitting in front of the camera talking. So it should be an easier video to edit, but it's just long. But the next thing I'll show you, because again, this is something that a lot of people have asked about, is how I do my edits in terms of like zooming in and out and all that kind of stuff. So let's see. I'm a high school choir director. Let's say for whatever reason, I wanted to emphasize that with a little bit of zoom action. So I isolated that moment. Let's just make sure I did it well. I'm a high school choir director. So this is me just saying I'm a high school choir director. All right, so let's decide that I want to take this small segment of the clip and I want to zoom in. So I'm going to just make sure that that is selected, and I've already kind of selected over here, but if you press this icon, it's going to give you a few different options, and the first is just to fit that picture or that video as is, like you're going to get the whole picture or video in the frame. The next option is to crop to fill, and this is where you can choose any part of what you see in the frame to zoom into. So if I want to like zoom into my face, we'll look at what that looks like. Which I am not. I'm a high school choir director. Okay, so you kind of saw, sorry, you saw me raising the volume too, but you saw that it just zoomed right into my face. I could change it so that I instead, let's say something weird happened with the clock or something, I could zoom into the clock, so we'll see what that looks like. Which I am not. I'm a high school choir director, and it's kind of creepy. The other thing we can do is called Ken Burns, and that's where you go from something and you zoom either in or out to something else. So right now they're saying, okay, we're going to start with a close-up of this clock and then zoom out into what you see along these dotted lines. Let's just see what that looks like. Which I am not. I'm a high school choir director. So I don't know why you would ever want to do that. Let's play around with how else we could do it. So let's say I'm like, no, I'd rather like start, let's say I want to start big. So I can start bigger and I could end smaller. So let's just play around with how this looks. So let's say I want to start with like my whole face, but I want to get just even, more focused in. I am not. I'm a high school choir director, and so those are just different options for, different ways that you can zoom and things like that. And let me see if there's anything else. I'll just show you really quickly what some of these icons mean. So we'll just keep playing with this little clip right here. I honestly don't mess around with this very much, but this is where you can like play around with just kind of like how things are colored. So yeah, I'm not really going to do anything with that. I guess maybe if I Oh, see, I don't like that, so I'm gonna get rid of that. This is why I don't mess around with this really. Ugh, okay, I don't really mess around with this either, but I think this is just where you can do some like color correction. This is the zoom that I already showed you, and sometimes people accidentally, like while they're filming, they think that they're filming in landscape, but they're actually doing it horizontal, and this is where you can mess around with which direction your video is facing. So that has been a save for me sometimes where I think that I'm filming it one way, but then I'm not. This is like if you're holding your camera and it's actually really shaky, then you can press stabilize shaky video and it'll just kind of minimize the amount of jerking around that it does. This is where you can be even a little bit more specific with the sound. Like if you just want to lower the sound here, you can utilize this and lower the sound. You can select all and lower the sound. A lot of different options. This is like you can lower the volume of other clips, so it just is giving you a few more options. This icon right here I have used sometimes, maybe like sometimes when I record in my office at school. Sometimes there's this really annoying humming noise and it's just coming from something in the building. I don't know what. So I will press reduce background noise and it'll kind of cut out some of that side noise that you don't really want in your video. It's kind of annoying though because it changes the effect of your speaking voice as well. And then they also have these other options where like you can enhance just like the speaking voice, you can enhance the music. There is like something specifically for hum reduction. So there are some other kind of effects that you can add if you want. I usually don't mess around with this too much, but I will sometimes, like I said, reduce the background noise. This is, by the way, just stopped on a really lovely picture of me. But those are some options. This is where you can play around with adding freeze frames if you want to like, you know, stop a moment in time. You can slow it down. So let's see what happens if I slow this down. I'm a high school choir director. I can make it even slower if I want, which will be ridiculous. Like that's ridiculous. And then I can make it faster, which you'll see it change from like the turtle to the bunny. And you know, another thing that you can do is you can go into this and you can select fast, but I kind of just custom did it. So now let's see what happens. I'm a high school choir director. So I have used, you know, like a slow down or speed up feature here and there when I find it to be appropriate. Sorry, I had to burp. But let's go ahead and turn that off because I don't need anything to happen there. And then this is where you can add like effects to the filter, like if I want it to look like I am, and my, oh, if I want it to just have a different feel to it. My school. There are these different options. If you want it to look like old-timey, or here's like silent era. And my school. So that's kind of cool. I haven't really ever utilized any of these, but now that I know that this is a thing, I may try it. I'm definitely not like an editing master or guru. I have a lot to learn. And I personally just feel like the best way to learn is just to do it. Hey, I'm gonna pause really quickly just to say if you feel like you're learning anything and getting some value out of this video, please make sure that you hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you subscribe as well because why not, right? So yeah, make sure you do those things. My media is where you see like all of the videos and pictures and stuff that you could potentially use. So I can take any of these things and drag it into this, I don't remember what this area is called, but the area where I'm going to like do my editing. Audio is, iMovie has some sounds that are built in that you can use. So I will usually use, for example, like the bell transition sound when I am saying like, this is my Instagram handle. I have also used sounds like, let me think. Like the hockey buzzer, like when I make a mistake or I say something stupid. So there are different sounds in here for sound effects. Another way that you can utilize sound effects if they're not in this library of sounds in iMovie. In iMovie, it's pretty limited, but sometimes I'll just like search the sound effect that I'm looking for in YouTube. I'll just Google search YouTube to MP3 converter and it'll download the sound from that YouTube video into a short little MP3, and then I can just drag that into my video and I can use that sound. So I'll do that sometimes. And they also have like, if you have moments where you want to use some music, they have this genre thing called jingles. So you can literally like, let's just listen to a couple. All right, here's another one. A little more dramatic.
So, they have a lot of different sounds or like musical things that you can use. I also will, if I want like just some background music, especially if I'm doing like a thrift with me or something like that, I will go to YouTube and I will search copyright free music. And I think that the YouTube channel that I find most of my music from is Audio Library, something like that. But there are a ton of different resources on YouTube, and they just ask that you like copy and paste specific information into your description. So as long as you do that, you can use their music. So that's what the audio thing is. Titles is what I use if I want to put some information in text in any given part of my video. So I'll usually stick to like this one that is in the center or like the bottom right corner or the bottom left corner. But there are things that do all sorts of fancy things. You can do like scrolling credits. So let's just try one. So here I can just say, high school teacher, and you can play around with the font. You can play around with how big you want the font size to be. You can make it, go to the left or align it to the right. I usually just keep mine centered. You can bold it, italicize, all that kind of stuff. You can change the color. So that's how I put my titles in, or just like my little interjections, if you will, of text. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that because I don't really need that there. And then I don't really use transitions either. A lot of people do, but this is where I'll just show you. So we can do something super fancy like the spin out. This is where basically like if you are going from one clip to another, and most people will do this if they're going from like one location to another in their video, but it'll just kind of add a cool effect from one clip to the next.
High school choir director and my school.
Okay, it did not show it. Let me try
which
it again.
I am not. I'm a high school choir director and my school.
Oh, it's because the clip is too short. Okay, let's do it over here. I know why it's not doing it. It's because it kind of utilizes part of the clip that came before. So let's do it right here. It should definitely work here.
To do. Stay tuned.
Won't nobody love you.
So see, it had kind of a cool effect there, but like I said, don't really use that kind of stuff. I don't really like the feel of it. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like super natural to me. Yeah, that's what these things up on top are. You can also input some of your own media. That wasn't right here. If you have, that's not it either. But, oh, okay, there it is. So you can also put in stuff from your own iTunes if you want to use your own music. But like I said, you just want to make sure that you are not utilizing things that are copyrighted. So that's basically my process. Like I said, I am not using really expensive equipment. I'm not using really fancy editing software. In fact, like I talked about earlier, the software that I'm using is actually free. Now, when it comes to actual YouTube strategies and ways that you can make money on YouTube or, grow your channel faster and things like that, I actually got to go live with some of my very best YouTube friends, a lot of Josh and Harry Tornado, and I will link that video right here. And in that video, we just talked about YouTube strategies, and they kind of discussed the ways that they grew their channels, and I talked about how I grew mine. So if you want more strategic ways to be better at YouTube, then I definitely suggest watching that video. If you have any questions about how to do anything regarding YouTube, definitely feel free to leave me a comment down below, and I will do my very best to answer your questions. And for the prize today, I figured I would do something that maybe is not like a physical thing that I would mail out, but it really is just my time. I give you the prize of, let's say, 30 minutes of my time. We can talk on the phone and we can discuss any questions you have about YouTube, and I can try to help you through things. Or maybe we can FaceTime. So you can even show me just on your end what you're dealing with and what you have questions about, whether it's regarding editing or just on the back end of YouTube, anything like that. So that's what you can win, and the way that you can win it is down below. Just leave me a comment letting me know who your favorite YouTubers are. It doesn't even have to be reselling related, but just people that you love to watch on YouTube for whatever reason. So I'd love if you could tell me who you like to watch, why you like to watch them, and that's it. Yeah, I would love to hear who you guys are hanging out with online. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. I hope you learned something. If you did, please make sure that you hit that like button on your way out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.